Well, this glorious sunny afternoon, I wanted to talk about PDJ, public displays of joy, and really public displays of anything positive or loving or charitable. For a long time, I have been sharing my life publicly, long before there was a thing such as life casting, long before we had status updates and walls, long before there were sites that made it so that you could automatically upload your pictures, or even before there was cell phones that took pictures. I was sharing my life, and I considered myself and called myself a lifestyle artist, where my life was my art. The choices I made, the path I took, the way I dressed and made decisions, I tried to do so from a place of integrity and creativity that illustrated an expression in the same way that a canvas could, or the same way a play could, or the same way a sculpture could illustrate an expression of something. And so it's something that I continue to do, and many people do. Most people do, actually, with the rise of Facebook. Lifestyle artists, life casting, whether we know it or not, it's what we're doing. Whether we're consciously choosing the story of ourselves as protagonist, it's happening, and we're doing it. And so I think it's kind of important to check in once in a while and listen to the story that you're telling. Listen to who the character is that you're building does, how they act, what they focus on. A good script, a good story, doesn't go like this. Then I took a step, then I took another step, then I moved my head left, then I saw a tree, then I turned back and saw another tree, then a person walked by, they were wearing this. I mean, that's not a story. A story is a collection of details that create a narrative. So our lives are a collection of infinite details that we need to creatively, intentionally, with open heart, choose where we put our focus, what we put our attention on. And that's part of crafting our story. And so one of the things that I try to do is share not just my struggles. In fact, sometimes I try to minimize the struggles, or at least minimize the complaining, and try to find the lesson in the struggles. In fact, sometimes even use the incentive of people, of the incentive knowing that I'm telling a story as incentive to seek the lesson, seek why, where, how could this struggle be a part of a growth? Because it all is. There is anything that is beating you down is the opportunity for growth, for learning. So I have been very public about some things that people have argued are inappropriately so. There was a discussion online recently where someone posted, not a close friend, but someone was like, "Don't you hate it when people post these, super intimate declarations of love for their significant other? I mean, keep that to yourselves, man. We don't want to see that." And I was like, "What? No, I disagree. I am all for a increase in expressions of love, all for taking away any sort of embarrassment, taking away any sort of stopping, whether physically, mentally, embarrassment-wise, rolling the eyes, and getting rid of anything that limits expressions of love. I want to live in a world where it is so commonplace that we just express love. We share positive things. We share charitable things because the world is full of it, and that's the story we tell. So they kind of argued back, and they said actually that to them, it minimized love. It made it seem like love was a less important thing. And I was like, I think you're talking about a kind of love that is not the optimal. I don't think you're talking about agape love, divine love. You're talking about attachment. You're talking about if your love is finite and you only have so much to give around, that's not the highest state of love. If you are a parent and you have another child, a second child, and suddenly you have half as much love to give to your first child, well, that's not love. That may be attention, but that's not the same thing as love. Love expands as you give it. Love is an infinite resource. And the more that you express it, the more you share it, the more you have. So, I've been trying to, for a long time, increase the amount that I share about my life. And I'm sure there are people that consider it to be obnoxious and over the top. And sometimes people tell me so, especially with regards to charitable things. And it's something that I've struggled with a lot. In fact, when we first did First Saturdays, before it was called First Saturdays, when it was the first Saturday, Jason and I were kind of like, well, is it cool to make this public? Does it take away the power, the magic, the importance of a charitable act if we say, look what we did? And sometimes it does. Charity that is done publicly is nowhere near as powerful in terms of a tool for increasing the energy that you get. I think that when you do charitable things privately, there is an equation in the universe that invites gifts to you. There's a book, Living by Grace, that says all about that. And he says, look, if you are public about the charity you do, it doesn't count at all. But with the First Saturday situation, I was like, I share my life. It's what I do. Why would I not share things that are demonstrations of the kind of living and people and interactions that I want to see more of? Why would I not consider that to be additional role modeling of the behavior I want to see? So I did share it. And the effects were beautiful. Lots of people said, I want to help. I want to give resources. I want to join you. And that's why we have, 10 more people, then 20 people, then 50, then 70 people at one point showing up, wanting to be a part of this expression of love and connection. Would that have happened if I made it private? No. Now, this could be it definitely changes the kind of experience it is. And First Saturdays is very much an opportunity to give more than it is actually an act of charity. Just last week, I made a post. Well, I'll read it. I said, while getting morning coffee at the local market, saw two young backpackers. In front of me in line, one asked how much several things were. He put back the power bars and just bought the 6-pack of Mountain Dew. My first thought was, yes, an opportunity to do a random act of kindness. I bought 2 power bars with my coffee and gifted them to the young travelers from Colorado who were guzzling soda right outside. I actually saw them, way far away as I was going to get the coffee, and I was like, I should offer to buy them a cup of coffee. And so, my first instinct, I didn't do it, and I'm like, well, maybe they're heading in the same direction, maybe I'll see them in the store. And then they had their backpack off, so I wasn't sure if it was the same people, and then when that happened, I was like, yes! And the thing that I wanted to share in that update wasn't that, hey, look at me, I did something awesome. It was like, hey, look at this growth that I'm experiencing, where my reaction to this situation was joy, happiness at the opportunity of doing something nice for somebody else. That equation that I talk about all the time with words is becoming part of the way I act and feel. That feeling of like when you feel connected to people, you can act selfishly as you do good for other people because you know it's going to make yourself feel better. And so I wanted to share that expression, that experience, as that kind of story. Not a look how rad I am. Some other people they posted, they said, well, it would have been a lot nicer if you didn't, crow about it. I was like, well, I don't know. How much easier would it be to just do nice things if you felt like everyone out there was doing nice things? And you're not, I think one thing that we're afraid of is being taken advantage of. If I give to everybody, then people are going to, take advantage of me. Now, I think as you start to do good deeds all the time, you realize that you can't be taken advantage of because as you spread joy, you feel joy. But that is a twinge of the feeling that we get. And so, yes, there's a different kind of vibrational beauty and rising that happens when you do things truly anonymously. And you know what? I just might do other things anonymously and not share them. I won't say yes or no because, well, that would kind of mess up that anonymous energy that I'm trying, or may not be trying, to do as well. There's things that are growing in our culture that are actually making this normal. Things like Kickstarter and Indiegogo and sites like that, where they do crowdsourcing of projects, where it's public, where you say, hey, I just gave money to these people. Now, there are people, and there was a time when I think that would be considered, whoa, that's a little public display, that's a little over the top. But how awesome that we are growing into a community and a culture where that is considered normal, where we don't just say, check out the new shoes that I bought, look how awesome I am. Instead, we're bragging, or not even bragging, just sharing the experience of distributing our gifts, voting with our dollar, voting with our energy for what we want more of in the world. This afternoon, I was on top of the Hugmobile, and there was a guy who was getting, cleaning things up from last weekend's amazing experience at Lucidity. And a guy drove by in a truck, and he yelled, "Get that piece of shit thing out of here." And I was, and I kind of waved to him. I want to make sure that I did hear him. And, I wanted to return it with kindness. Also recognizing that I'm not sure exactly what I would do if he turned around. He did turn around. A few minutes later, he drove by very slowly. So I came out of my house, and as he was driving slowly, I kind of was like, as he was kind of far off and he was slow, and I kind of saw his face in the rearview mirror. And I said, I was like, would you like to talk? Would you like to talk? Would you like to talk? As I kind of slowly walked, open-handed towards his car. And I saw him look around, and I wasn't sure if he was looking for a parking place or what, and then he took off again and didn't stop. Someone posted in the comments that, I bet he wished he did stop. And I think he probably did. It's one thing to feel like a big man yelling. It's another thing then to walk away from somebody who's saying, do you have a problem? Tell me. I shared that experience as well. Partially because I was stirred up. Partially because I was feeling like there are examples of ickiness in the world. And I wanted to be part of the light. And I want to share the paths of light. And I want to be a part of the demonstration of alternate ways to be. And I consider the gatherings that we do on Tuesdays to be just that, a recalibration, a reminder that we can be open-hearted. We can publicly share our charity. We can publicly share our good deeds. We can publicly share the best, the highest part of who we are, and not feel that, who do they think they are, that so often we get met with, that rolling of the eyes and that can sting when we don't have the strength of a community or strength of a recalibrated heart. So thank you for helping me recalibrate. Hopefully this kind of experience helps you recalibrate. Thank you for being a part of that walk, of that focusing on the parts of the story that remind us that life is amazing. I think it was Isaac Asimov that said life can be miserable or amazing. It takes the same amount of effort. And so choosing to be, to focus on, to share the parts of life, the expressions of life, the choices that get us towards our best selves, our most ideal life. And then acknowledging that we don't, I of all people am not always in a state of making those open-hearted, loving choices. But I try to minimize the bad and optimize the good. Refocus on my cone, and then what that does is shift the whole flow. One of the mantras this last weekend for me was, yes, thank you, more please. Yes, thank you, more please. Yes, thank you, more please. If you're cooking a meal and somebody sits down and eats and goes, yes, thank you, more please. Who's going to get another helping? That person. The universe is no different. The universe feels that vibration, acknowledges, all right, someone who can appreciate joy, someone who can appreciate resources, someone who can appreciate love in their life and connections, abundance. They're even saying it out loud. Yes, thank you, more please. Let's get this guy some more cone. Double scoop, triple scoop, what? You know what? Let's load the back of his truck with cone, with ice cream. Hopefully vegan ice cream, but you know. So, I wanted to encourage myself, us, everyone, to toot that horn. Share that goodness. If you'd like to share something that you've done, seen, or been the receiver of, please do so on the Hug Nation page or in the comments to this video. And let's remind each other that the world is amazing, filled with amazing people like you. Thank you for being a part of it. I love you. Let's have a hug. Wherever you are, grab yourselves by the shoulders. And while this body is separate, our spirit is one. And this body in its separate state gives us the perfect opportunity to increase the joy of other separate bodies. And in doing so, increase the spirit, the joy, the love of all. Who we are is not this body. Who we are is not our personality. Who we are is not a collection of our memories. That is a part of it. But deeper than that, we are that love, that spirit, that joy. And as we share that joy, as we receive the joy, appreciate the joy, as we amplify it and shoot it out into the world, that joy increases, and we selfishly are more joyful and loving. Let's just take a deep breath and feel that love enter into us with our breath. Breathe in the love. Share it with the world. 3 more. Breathe in the love. Share it with the world. Breathe in the love. Share it with the world. Last one. On behalf of Grandpa Caleb and all the Love Warriors, happy Hug Nation. Thank you for being you, shining your light, spreading your love. I love you. Namaste.